Hello everyone, welcome to a cheeky little bonus episode of the Evolution of Horror. We are into summer sort of movie festival season, and I'm very excited in August to head up to Edinburgh for the Edinburgh Film Festival. And I am going to be there for every movie in their midnight category. So they are going to be premiering a whole bunch of horror and genre films at midnight every night across the festival. I'm going to be there for each and every one of them, and I'm very honoured to be hosting a screening of one of my favourite horror films of the year, certainly the creepiest horror movie I've seen this year, Damien McCarthy's Oddity. That's going to be on Friday the 16th of August. If you are around, if you are within reach of Edinburgh, trust me, you do not want to miss this, especially watching it with a midnight audience. It's going to be something truly special, I think. But anyway, there are a whole bunch of movies that are going to be playing at the festival, including another one of my absolute favourite films I've seen this year, Coralie Fargeat's The Substance, starring Demi Moore, and also Alien Romulus is getting its premiere at the festival as well on opening night. So I'm going to be there for all of these events, and I would love for you guys to join us. So I'm going to list the details in the show notes about the festival and how you can get tickets. But now have a little listen to my conversation with the director of the festival, Paul Ridd, and the producer of the festival, Emma Boa. They talk me through the lineup of this year's horror films playing at the festival and what audience members can expect. Enjoy. I'm very excited to be joined by Edinburgh Film Festival CEO and director Paul Ridd and festival producer Emma Boa. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. This is very exciting. How's life in Edinburgh right now? Is it any sunnier than it is down here? Because it's very grim down here.
It's not sunnier. I've been living up here since the beginning of the year, and I think Emma has said that it's the worst weather she's ever experienced across the summer in the city before.
Oh my God.
So I feel confident. I've been on a weather journey, certainly, these past few months.
I'm not sure Paul fully believes me yet, but no. I swear it is particularly bad this year.
Yeah.
Oh God, Emma, are you like a born and bred Edinburgh local? Like
I am, I am indeed. So I can vouch for genuinely the weather is often better than this. But anyway, a baptism of fire for Paul, I think.
Of course.
Beautiful place to experience the rain, though. It's lovely.
It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, right? I'm very excited to come up and join you guys to watch some movies. Tell us a little bit about, Paul, how is all the festival prep going so far?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, what we've sort of had to do is kind of set up a whole new organisation from scratch. So building up the business, building up the new team. I've been working really closely with Emma the past months to kind of relaunch the festival and do something a bit different. And yeah, we're feeling great about the programme. We announced it a couple of weeks ago. Sales have been great. And yeah, we're just really excited to get started.
Amazing. So what did that involve, Emma, that kind of slight relaunch and, changes in the festival this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're starting completely from scratch. It's a brand new entity, a brand new company that's been set up from the ground up. So we've really been working at pace to kind of pull everything together, get all of our systems and processes and staffing structure and recruitment all in place over a short period of time. And this has been supported massively by, obviously many of our funders and partners and supporters, but all the new collaborators that we've been involved with while developing and devising this new festival iteration, which has enabled us to, move at pace in a way that we wouldn't have been able to do without that. And it's been very encouraging and supportive as well to be part of the kind of wider festival framework that takes place in Edinburgh in August.
That's so cool. So, before we get in specifically into some of the kind of genre stuff, just generally speaking, Paul, how excited are you about the whole lineup this year? Obviously, the program got announced sort of last week or the week before last, right? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, as Emma says, we've got this new partnership in place with lots of different fringe organisations. So we're screening in non-traditional spaces as well as the Cameo. And the programme also speaks to that. So there's lots of movies that kind of have a kind of connection with the performing arts, with theatre, with comedy, and with all those performing arts that are kind of happening in Edinburgh at the time. So we were kind of very keen to find work from, comedians, from TV folk, from theatre people, But at the centre of this whole thing is a world premiere competition that we're running. So we've got these 10 world premiere films all competing for the Sean Connery Prize for Feature Filmmaking Excellence, which we're super excited about. And then about half the programme is world premieres as well. So there's lots of stuff that people have just not seen before at all. And that's kind of our SP.
Love that. I'm obviously very excited about some of these horror films that you're programming this year. Tell us a little bit about the kind of midnight program, the Midnight Madness program that you've got set up.
So I think the whole thing was kind of born from a knowledge that Edinburgh Film Festival in the past has had a very strong lineage of genre cinema. You know, Alien, the first Alien premiered here in the UK. You know, Evil Dead played here. And so there's this big tradition of genre films, but also a culture of kind of late night programming in the film festival, but also, of course, in the wider fringe. What we wanted to do is kind of keep our program going late into the night so people who are coming to see films with us can start in the morning, but potentially keep going right until the early hours, where Edinburgh is still, you know, kind of awake anyway.
Oh my God, absolutely. Emma, I just feel like that is going to be such a fun atmosphere, like going to see movies, for example, like Alien Romulus, right, with an audience at midnight.
Absolutely. I mean, and as Paul says, it's really, you know, tapping into the energy that exists in the city in August anyway, where really the city rarely sleeps. We're over the moon to secure the UK premiere of Alien Romulus, and for me personally, Alien and Aliens are two of my all-time favourite films that I know inside out.
Yes.
And this film is a fantastic, new entry into the franchise. And
have you? So I take it you've both seen it, have you? Alien Romulus at this point.
We have, yeah.
So excited, and I I'm sure you can't give away too much, but it looks from what I've seen of it like it really does kind of return to those original two films, Emma, like you've just mentioned, right? Very much the vibe of those two. It seems like.
I mean, taking it back to the roots of being like a haunted house horror movie on a spaceship is really the kind of guiding principle behind it. Like I say, like you say, we can't really talk too much about the specific content of the film. What I can say is that if you've seen a Fede Alvarez movie before, you kind of know what to expect. Like, he is a master of horror. We love Don't Breathe. We love, his Evil Dead remake, and his kind of commitment to tension, character building, but gore effects, and also just pure kind of excitement and adrenaline is absolutely apparent here in this film. So yeah, get very excited.
So exciting. Will you be will you guys be too busy, or will you be able to like kind of sit and watch them with an audience when these films play, do you think?
Oh, no. I mean, we're committed to the idea that, who needs sleep during a film festival? But yeah, I mean, I think the idea of like, staying up and seeing how these films go down with crowds, I mean, that's one of the things we've always talked about since day one with Midnight Madness, is we wanted to pick 6 movies that would provoke a really strong response in an audience. I'm thinking about, like going to that world premiere of Coralie Fargeat's film Revenge in Toronto a few years back. The atmosphere at those Toronto Midnight Madness screenings is always electric. Yeah. You always know you're going to get the top of the range genre films. If we can get even an inkling of that kind of atmosphere and that kind of energy going in the cameo, then the roof's going to come off.
I love it. And we'll get to Coralie Fargeat in a minute, right? Let's talk a little bit about these 6 movies then that you program for the Midnight program. You've mentioned, so Alien Romulus, right? Opening film. What a banger to kick things off with. Incredible. Yeah. What else have you got? So night 2, Friday the 16th, is going to be the new Damien McCarthy film, right? Oddity.
Yeah. And we're collaborating on that screening, Mike. So I'm very excited to see you up on stage introducing Damien and talking about the film a little bit before we go on and show it. What a terrifying film.
Oh my God.
I was watching it on my own. There was a point when I literally screamed. It just came out. It's really terrifying. Yeah. It's so atmospheric. It's such a, a kind of unique spin on the haunted house thriller that has this, deeply unsettling wooden mannequin in the film. It's going to be a real treat, I think, for midnight audiences for sure.
Yeah. As soon as he pops up on screen, you kind of have that feeling of like, oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's incredible. I loved Damien's previous film, Caveat, and both these movies have this same kind of vibe, this kind of like classic kind of gothic horror, but really pulled off in a way that actually genuinely, with both films, took me by surprise. And really, like, I'm quite hard to scare these days, but I agree with you, Emma. Like, I yelped out loud in my seat at one point, just watching it on a screener at home, right? Like, it's truly terrifying, so I can't wait to see it with an audience.
Yeah. No, I mean, also just that kind of feeling of kind of, like you say, honouring a tradition of kind of like British Gothic horror, or in this case, Irish Gothic horror, but in the context of also updating it a bit. And some of the sort of shocks in the film are just so full on. Like it just,
yes.
Yeah, no, it's going to go down beautifully.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun. So that's Oddity. That's playing on Friday the 16th. Then on Saturday the 17th, the next midnight film is a film called SUNRAY. Tell us about this one.
Okay, so SUNRAY is a film devised, written, acted by, and sort of overall led by a group of actual soldiers, British soldiers, who kind of bring their experience to this kind of very high-octane action movie that's kind of a revenge movie, but it's also kind of like a Call of Duty type thing. And it's just... One of the things we kind of loved about it is that so many places elsewhere in our program, we're showcasing films that have been made on a shoestring, that have been made on a small budget, that have been like labours of love from their creators. And, you know, they're films that like really speak to a vision that was, you know, kind of completely realised. And that kind of low budget filmmaking that works within the limitations of resource, but delivers something that's super ambitious and super effective, really kind of like spoke to us in this film as an example. Plus, it's just really fun. I mean, like you've seen, you know, it's just a very traditional, very like well-worn story of revenge and kind of action, but it's just done with such a, it just feels so much fun.
And the action itself is so, I mean, it's performed by real former soldiers that has that whole other level of authenticity, I suppose, to it, as well as just being high impact and really takes you on a rollicking ride, I would say. Yeah.
And as a combat film, it's just, I think those action beats, when they land, are just so much fun. And like you're saying, they have that kind of authenticity to them. And I think, again, it's like you watch these films in quite a kind of, a quite isolated and quite sort of, dry context when you sit and watch them on a laptop and watch them on a link or whatever. And then you think, okay, so this is having an effect on me in this context. Watching it with a massive group of people who are all there for a good time and like responding to all the big, huge narrative moments and stuff like that, that's when you know you've got something really special.
Yeah. Incredible. I love that. So that's SUNRAY, which is playing on the Saturday night. On the Sunday night, you've got BIRDEATER. I've heard good stuff about this. This is like an Australian kind of genre film, right?
So it's a kind of weird mix of kind of wake-in fright and I don't know, something like Promising Young Woman. That's kind of main sort of like weird, disparate elements that you can kind of combine in that it's about a group of guys who go on a kind of stag do in the Australian outback. And they go with a couple of their girlfriends as well, and the woman who's about to marry the main character. And everything goes wrong. And everything you could conceivably think that could happen, all the extreme things that could go wrong in that context of like a bunch of young people together, off their heads, kind of going through a whole crisis and experiencing all kinds of nightmarish things. I don't want to spoil too much because it's one of those films where you watch it, you're like, I have no idea where this is going. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to these characters. I don't know what this is kind of like heading towards, but I know it's nothing good. And that's kind of one of the great pleasures of it.
Yes. Oh, my God. I mean, you had me at Waking Fright meets Promising Young Woman. That sounds amazing. I'm a big fan of that kind of exploitation kind of vibe, right? And that sounds like it's very much its vibe. Incredible. Right. So that's BIRDEATER, which is playing on the Sunday night. And then on the Monday night, we've got King Baby. Tell us about this one.
So King Baby is a fantastically unique dark comedy that's very much a two-hander with two men that live in this very kind of localized setting, and it's panning out a sort of power play basically between the two of them as they kind of take on different roles of king and servant. And in amongst all of this is this wooden queen who serves as a catalyst for a lot of conflict between them. It's a brilliantly unique vision. I think it's a very hard to encapsulate, I think, and I think audiences will be very surprised about the journey that it takes them on. And again, we think this will land really well with a midnight audience.
Yeah. It's not the only film in our lineup, I suppose, even within Midnight Madness, that has as its centerpiece a wooden mannequin. That's one of the nice things. It couldn't be more different from Oddity, though, I'd say. I think one of the things that really attracted to us about this was the idea that we don't want to just be horror. We don't want to just be action. We want to take in comedy, and we want to take in every sort of like genre hybrid we can find. And as Emma says, it's actually a difficult movie to really describe, because the log line, which is two men in a kind of power play in the wreckage of a castle, and there's thrown into the mix a wooden doll that causes chaos. How do you explain why that film is so mesmeric and so strange and so hilarious?
Yeah.
And it's homegrown UK film by two co-directors, and it's completely unique, as Emma says, completely funny, and very, very dark.
Yeah, all about toxic masculinity, and really that's the core theme that underpins it all.
Incredible. That sounds great. So that's King Baby, which is on the Monday night. And then finally, oh my God, the last one of the lineup, the closing film, The Substance, right? The new Coralie Fargeat film, which plays on the 20th. I watched this film this week. Oh my God. I thought it was one of the best things I've seen all year. I absolutely loved it. Paul, tell us about this one.
I mean, like I say, seeing her first film, Coralie's first film, Revenge, in its world premiere at TIFF was one of the abiding memories I have of being in that festival and being on the ground, seeing a movie that could make somebody so ill that they have to be stretchered out was one of the great things about that experience.
Right, yeah.
They fainted and they had to be moved out. I mean, I don't know the degree to which that was a stunt, but like it was certainly well covered at the time. Anyway, this film pulls no punches and is hilarious and gory and violent, and also, I think, very thematically rich and complicated and thorny. I think it makes you squirm as a male viewer. It makes me squirm because it has such an amazing insight into the nature of kind of the male gaze, and also how women are treated in Hollywood, and how women are objectified, and how they sort of like get cast aside as they get older in the Hollywood culture. And I think as any viewer, you take away from it this pure pleasure of seeing this body horror and this incredible kind of like, particularly the final act, which is just insane. But you also take away lots of very interesting and thought-provoking ideas, just as you did with Revenge. So yeah, I think she's one of the most exciting filmmakers currently working.
Oh my God. And Emma, like Demi Moore in this film too, right? Just unbelievable.
She's phenomenal, right? I mean, just fantastic to be a part of a film like that as well. So super exciting for us.
So good. It's one of those films that, like, it's quite long. It's like over 2 hours, but I kind of loved every second of it because it felt like everything was about this just excess, right? Like everything wasn't just turned up to 10. It was like turned up to 12, like every moment and every scene in this film. It's incredible. Yeah. Really, really cool. Well, there you go. What an incredible little lineup there of movies. I'll be there midnight every night seeing every single one of these. So hopefully it will be, come and join us and have fun with all of these incredible genre movies. And Paul, what else have you got? Have you, outside of the kind of midnight category, are there any other movies you want to give a little shout out to?
Yeah, of course. I would say that one of the cool things about Midnight is that we've, in the case of 4 of the movies, been able to pair them with shorts. So we've got great films like Rachel McClane's film Duck, Eros V's Meat Puppet, Make Me a Pizza by Talia, Shea, Levin, and One More Round by Zach Magid and Andrew Tyrell. And those shorts, I'm not going to give anything away about any of them because we want them all to be a big surprise. Yeah. But in terms of like doing something different with form and doing something different with the short format, I think all of them will be great sort of appetizers before we go into the main meal, as it were, of those individual films. But beyond that, I mean, we are both big genre heads, of course, like huge fans of genre cinema. So we wanted to find every opportunity to kind of like place movies into the wider program outside of Midnight Madness. So, there's movies like Steppenwolf, which is an incredible film from Kazakhstan, which kind of plays like a kind of modern riff on The Searchers, but very much kind of with a female focus. And then there's a movie like The Radleys.
So written by Joe Brand, based on Matt Haig's titular novel. Cool. A bloodthirsty black comedy about a family harbouring a dark secret, featuring Damien Lewis and Kelly MacDonald. Yeah. And so we have the world premiere of that. Very much looking forward to that.
Amazing. Yeah.
And also, Alice Lowe's film Timestalker as well, which we're over the moon to be presenting. Very, again, super unique vision that she's had in with kind of shades of Peter Greenaway in this time-travelling woman who's fixated on things that she can't control, and really, really thrilled to have this film in our program, and can't wait to share it with audiences. I think.
I feel like I've been waiting for this film for ages. I remember Alice Lowe came on this podcast in about 2017 or something, and talked about how she's writing this film called TIMESTALKER, and like it sounded incredible even then, right? So, and yeah, there's been a lot of buzz already this year about that movie, hasn't there? I'm really excited to watch it finally.
Yeah. I mean, as with Prevenge, she's playing with lots of genre forms and lots of different bits and pieces. And I think with this, there's a darkness to it, which kind of like hits up against the comedic aspect. Obviously, she's a genius at comedy and is so good in the movie. But it's got a real edge of darkness to it, which I think will land really well. But just everyone should come and see everything.
And we have Gaspar Noé in conversation, and we'll also be presenting.
Oh my God.
Suspiria to our audiences. So really looking forward to that. I think with his take on this, classic 70s horror.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I can't wait for that. I've never seen Suspiria on the big screen,
actually,
so this is my chance. Like, I feel like it's really the only way to see that film, actually, I think, isn't it? So I'm really excited to experience that. Yeah.
And with Gaspar introducing it as well, it's one of his favourite films. But I think that's something very, very special. Lots of stuff.
Amazing. So tickets are on sale for all these things now, are they?
Exactly, and hurry, because lots of stuff is selling out. But there'll be some more tickets on sale soon. We're just really excited to present this to audiences and for you to come up and join us, Mike. See all this stuff.
I can't wait. We're going to have so much fun. I'm very, very, very excited about it. Awesome. All right, cool. So any more information on films and tickets and that kind of stuff, just head to the festival website, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool, man.
Paul and Emma, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Mike.
And there we go. If you are within reach of Edinburgh next month and any of those films sound appealing to you, I mean, how could they not? Alien Romulus, The Substance, and Oddity. I mean, those three alone are enough to get any horror fan excited, I feel like. But that whole lineup sounds incredible. I'm going to be there throughout the entire festival. So if you fancy coming along, grab a ticket to one of these movies. Let me know you're coming. Let's hang out. Let's meet for a drink. I have listed the details and links to get your tickets in the show notes. So please grab them while tickets last. I think a couple of these screenings, including The Substance and Alien, have already sold out. But please do come along to one of the other screenings in that midnight category and let's hang out. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back Friday for another usual episode of The Evolution of Horror.